board restricted accounts that we could only dump into debt reduction, and that would not be a bad idea, Tom.
Okay, maybe it's something we could think of, the rest of the board members and new upcoming board members, something we might be able to think of and implement in 2021. Thanks, Jen.
All right.
Currently, with the board committee reports, we're going to not have any as long as we continue with the Zoom until we can meet in person. Next on the agenda is manager's report. Ken Rozelle.
Well, I'd like to start out by wishing everybody a happy new year. Now that the Christmas season's over, the Santa mailbox that Paul Corsario purchased was a great hit with the children. Last counted, there were exactly 100 letters mailed to Santa. I'd like to thank Carrie Boland and Carrie Austin for spearheading this effort, and to all the volunteers that responded back and wrote to the kids. That was a job well done for the community. Before 2020 year end, I purchased 4 body cameras for lake security to wear while on lake patrol. The cameras have up to 12 hours of recording time along with night vision. The whole purpose of this camera is to hopefully capture footage of any violations, along with conversations between the lake security and boaters. Anything that needs to be reviewed or kept can be downloaded on a computer. During the Christmas break, I went to Greenfield area to save the POA $500 in shipping. Picked up the playground equipment myself. The monkey bar set is currently being installed at the marina and should be completed sometime this week. The other monkey bar set is on order and should be received in a few weeks, and that one is slated to be placed at the Lincoln Park. The road signs that we have spoke about a few times, some of them are rotted and outdated. I've had some new ones made and they were delivered last Thursday. I'm currently exploring some long-term options for hanging them, and I hope to get these out and in place within the next 30 days. The yearly assessments are calculated through the CPI index. I checked the site this morning and it has not been updated for me to calculate for 2021. As soon as I get this information, I'll pass it along to everybody. That's just something we just kind of got to wait for the government to enter their information before I can move forward with ours. And finally, I'd like to say to Jim and Debbie Muhlenbein, along with Rick Miller, they did a fantastic job. If anybody joined the election, meet the candidates on Saturday, posted on Zoom. And also there are 7 really good candidates running that did a fantastic job answering the questions that Jim threw at them. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Ken, they did a wonderful job in that presentation on Meet the Candidates. And I, again, will encourage everybody, if you weren't able to view it, it's available from a link on our Heritage Lake POA website under important links. Next on the agenda, we have old business. First one on old business is office computer upgrade. That's Grant.
Yes, I've gotten all the computers in. I am currently working on getting all the programs uploaded to it that I can, to the computers that I can before getting there, so that it's less less in the office time and more out of the office time, and it can go smoother, hopefully. Hopefully in the next few weeks I'll be able to get in there and get everything installed.
So you still feel that by the end of January you'll have it done?
I should, if everything goes well for me on weekends, I should be able to get that done. Yes.
Okay, thanks, Grant.
Yep.
Under old business, item B, boat operator testing update. John Reedy.
Yeah. Rick was able to secure right after the first of the year 3 kiosks and 3 of the pads. It's not going to cost the homeowners association any money because the lake committee donated 2 and Rick on behalf of HLCS donated 1. All 3 are in, and I believe they're all 3 at the clubhouse because Rick hasn't been able to get into the marina to get those 2 installed yet. But they're pretty much ready to go, other than 2 at the marina being put online. I think all the questions are done, and he's got those implemented into the system. And what I'll do is turn it over to Rick, and Rick, let you fill everybody in on the actual test itself, insofar as getting all the test questions in.
Sure. Well, for anybody interested, the proof of concept test that is on the POA website now, it's been expanded. It currently has a list of 30 questions, and we'll present randomly 20 of those to each person taking the test. And 6, maybe 7 of those questions will be on every test because the lake committee thought they were all important enough to be on every test. But so the test that you're going to see is largely done, although I think you're going to talk about it on tonight's agenda. The lake rules are still being finalized, and if there are any changes at the last minute, we will of course update the test questions if necessary or as necessary. But that's a minor task. It's just an important one that the lake committee will be looking at as soon as the rules are actually final. So we have a little bit of training that we need to do for Deborah and April in the office and for the marina staff. I'm working on documentation for that now so they'll have something after the training to support them, but it's largely production ready right now.
Unemployment numbers have spiked. You've got people who lost their jobs.
Oh, thanks, Rick and John. Just a question to Rick. Part of your documentation, at least in a sealed envelope, so that the office has the Apple username and password?
Yes, all of that is very important. Whether it's sealed envelope or not, it'll have limited distribution, but yes, you will have full access, full control.
Very good, thanks.
Hey, Rick, will you need to be getting into the marina anytime soon to get those in place, or?
No, you can see from what's there in the clubhouse, Ken. It's just a question on where do you want them and how do you connect them to a power source. So that's really up to you. But when you're ready, if you want my help, I'll be available for you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Next item under old business, marina equipment update. Paul Forbes.
The marina equipment is in the, I don't know why it's called marina equipment. The restaurant equipment is in the marina. To include the walk-in, to include the cooker on the outside. All of the restaurant equipment and furniture to date have been purchased. And the only thing left to purchase are, I believe, 12 chairs we have to order. Those chairs will be ordered probably fairly soon, no rush. I guess the other thing under this category would be the restaurant itself. There's nothing new to report. We have communications about once a week. At this point, they're the same communications. Are you still positive? Yes. Have you gotten with your partner? No. So that's where we are. It's still a very positive potential for us. I would say at this point, I look forward to the opening of the marina. That is marina. And hopefully at the same time, we look forward to maybe possibly having a restaurant. Um, you will all be the first to know as soon as we have a lease in our hands.
Is there any update on the status of that lease? Did the partner have a chance or have a chance to review the draft that the attorney sent to him?
No, I don't know. Maybe he has. I believe that they both have read it. Their concern, there is only one concern, and that is the beginning portion of the lease. Realistically, so they're not in any quick desire to sign a lease that they have to start paying immediately under the circumstances of the pandemic. They are renegotiating all their leases in Indianapolis at the moment. And that's a big thing for that company right now. And obviously those negotiations have to do with the fact that they have not had any type of volume in their restaurants to be able to make enough money to pay the type of leases they had set up for non-pandemic type situations. So they're not anxious to get into the first part of our lease, which was paying right off the bat. But I've had contact with Ed Som about that particular point, and I just said we'd like to see your first crack at what you'd like to see as far as the lease. He has not been able to have a meeting with his partner since he has received the lease.
Thanks, Paul.
Mhm.
And did we get the kitchen equipment expenses in for 2020?
Yes, Anna got that itemized list.
We paid them then during 2020?
Yes.
Good,
Yes,
good.
yes.
Next on our list, old business, D, playground equipment, AJ.
Ken went over that.
I'm sorry.
His report.
Anything to add, AJ, or?
No, Ken did a great job. Saved
Okay,
$500 in shipping. Go Ken.
thank you. Next on our agenda is new business. First item A, 2021 lake rules and bylaws. My understanding is Paul's going to handle that.
My understanding also.
That's
Um,
good.
So let me get right to that. As soon as I find the right folder here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so have all the board members received the lake rules
Yes,
and the bylaws
yes,
and had a chance to read through those?
Yeah.
Okay. If there's, let me make my statements, and then if there's any questions before motion. First off, the number 1 through 7 that the attorney suggested with the lake rules, you've read through all those.
Yeah.
Starting out with the organization of rules being confusing and all through that. I don't want to have to read through these. You've read all through those. All those suggestions from the attorney are being taken into consideration on finalizing the lake rules by the Lake Committee. And this particular part of the Lake Committee head up by the Muhlenbeins, who have done a phenomenal job. What I would like to do tonight is, after any kind of discussion is necessary, is I would like the board to approve page 2 and page 3 of those lake rules. And the rest of the lake rules, we are taking the attorney's advice on several small changes, typos, etc. And those are going to be refigured by the members of the Lake Committee who are working on these particular lake rules, and they will be given to Rick Miller, who's going to make those changes. And then obviously have the lake rules ready for print. And that is dealing with the lake rules. So unless, does anybody have any questions so far?
Motion approved, pages 2 and 3.
I make a motion that we approve pages 2 and 3.
Right.
Second,
Second.
Okay,
All in favor?
discussion?
what's that?
Is there any discussion? If we have a motion for 2 and 3 to be approved, we have a first and a second. Do we have any discussion on those? I guess one thing that I just want to remind, as everybody indicated on the board, they did read through the lake rules. The one thing that I noticed when I scanned them this evening is that the fines have been changed. Did everybody pick up on those changes?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Now, if you read further into the lake rules, the old numbers were in there, and that was just basically a typo by the attorney's office. He was copying pages that he had no problems with, and some of those numbers are going to be changed according to the new fine amounts.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to review that, Paul, the level 1 violation, which is the highest level, is at a dollar fine of $250, not suggested, recommended. That's what we're voting on. The other change is a level 2 violation is 150, which is reduced from 250. And the third change is the level 3 violation. The days are at 10 days. They were a little higher before, I believe, or lower. I guess when I was reading the attorney's point, are we actually going to, I know we're going to, the recommendation is to change where the definitions are located, but to identify other areas that the attorney felt were confusing. So is that going to take place with Jim and Deb?
They're going through all of these rules, and they're going to make it as specific as possible according to the attorney's suggestions. Yes. The corrections and the stipulate some of the more picky areas from the attorney's office will probably not be addressed, only because the Lake Committee and the people responsible for putting out this book don't feel, and I have to agree on several of the items, don't feel that they really need any corrections. The corrections that are needed are going to be corrected. The premise behind the attorney's involvement in this particular situation is he is coming to us from the standpoint both with fines and language, so that he may feel confident in representing Heritage Lake if anybody takes us to court on any of these decisions. So that was the goal in inviting the attorney to help us with this process.
And do you have a feeling, I forget, Deborah, what your timeline was? Can you just remind us when you suggested that you needed a finished copy?
We would like a finished copy by the 22nd, which is Monday, a week from, 2 weeks from today. And the mailer will
That's
be,
completely feasible.
okay, then the
That's
mailer
feasible.
will go out
Mhm.
the last week of January is our timeline.
Correct.
Thanks, Deborah. Any other questions of Paul on the changes recommended? Again, the motion is that we are now voting on the acceptance of page 2 and 3 as defined by our attorney. That is the motion, I believe, correct, Paul?
That's correct.
We have a first and a second. Can we have a vote? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Paul. I
Okay.
think you're still up for bylaws.
Yeah. Everybody read the addition on the bylaws?
Yeah.
Is there, I make a motion that we accept the new additions that the attorney has dedicated for our bylaws.
Second, JJ.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, do we have a vote? All in favor of that change?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Just one comment, Paul, is we just passed that change. Will the attorney follow through with the process of updating our bylaws and submitting them to Putnam County?
I believe we do that.
Well, he'll send us the doc, Polly, and then we execute it. I think Rick has to sign it, and who else? Is it the secretary, Ken?
I'm not sure that I can honestly answer that. It is the president, and I think it is the secretary.
Yeah, but he's already got it done. Integrate it into our bylaws, and then we'll sign off on it, file it with Putnam County.
So to answer my question, I guess our office staff, I don't know, Ken, do you want to take on that responsibility?
They
Sure,
don't do that.
I'll work with the attorney and get it done.
I think we're going to probably be in contact with the attorney tomorrow anyway, because of the vote tonight. So I'll definitely get with Ken if I contact the attorney, or Ken and I can talk about that. We'll get it taken care of tomorrow.
And when we get that posted, if we could have a copy of the posted bylaw so we can put them on our website.
I think we probably will distribute them at annual meeting, don't we? Deborah, don't we do that?
Distribute them where?
Do we deliver the new bylaws at the annual meeting?
No, we had not planned for the bylaws to go into the mailer.
I
We've
don't
already
care.
got 2 booklets in there now. So we will have those available online and paper copy in the office once the office is open.
Good.
Hey, thank you, Paul. I think you're up again, I believe, under new business, general rules 2021. Is that your bailiwick, Paul, or not?
I guess so. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that.
Well, here, basically, if you don't, let me take it. Let me take that. I received a copy, I believe, correct, Deborah, of the new General Rules 2021 booklet. I looked at it and I emailed Deborah back indicating I think the layout is great, you know, how the information flows in that document. The thing I had a concern about, and really looking at it, is there are sections that do specify information regarding the lake rules that would have to be updated with respect to what our current changes from the attorney are.
Yes, Tom, there was an email that got missed going out to the board members to explain that that was being pulled from the book, because that is clearly stated in the lake rules. So we won't be redundant on the specifics about the lake rules. We will just mention things such as the general rules and what those rules pertain to, such as property, pets, and so on. So the fishing, anything to do with the fishing, voter registration, all that's outlined in the lake rules and will be omitted in the general rules.
Okay, so the booklet will be updated. There were some other sections that I was wondering about, but they are covered in the lake rules. One of them makes the reference to the ability for arbitration and no description of what is the actual process. But I noticed in the lake rules section, there is quite a detailed description of what an individual would need to do if they would want to go into arbitration for any of the possible grievances that result from the new lake rules. So I was happy to see that in the lake rules. The other area that I was wondering is there's some different statement regarding how long the POA has in order to make a decision on a grievance. In the general rules, to me, it read that the POA does not have any time frame. If they find they want to file a grievance or go after an individual, there is no limit. But I believe in the A&E committee rules, there is a statement that indicates if the A&E doesn't respond within a certain time frame, the individual could go ahead with their project. So I saw a conflict between those two paragraphs.
And nothing was added to the general rules. This is from prior years. So that would be something that the board would recommend that we could put in there and then approve, and that would be no problem to add.
Why wouldn't we eliminate that altogether and cut out the duplicate and just leave the lake information in the lake book?
Already stated the lake information would stay in the lake book. I think he's talking about arbitration for any of the violations to property or general rules. Isn't that correct, Tom?
General, okay. I thought you were referring to anything pertaining to a arbitration for the fines on the lake. That's what I thought he was talking about, so.
No, I believe I brought that up initially, but I believe Deborah cleared that up in my mind, that all discussion regarding lake rules will be removed from this general rules booklet.
Right.
And the only other item I had is, did we not in years past require ATV vehicles to carry insurance?
Yes.
Common property, yes.
See that?
By state law, I believe they have to carry insurance and they're supposed to be licensed, but
If they're on the road.
okay.
But we made it, is that not correct? Ken, we made a requirement for ATV vehicles to have insurance
And golf carts.
on our common grounds.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I couldn't find in the documentation where that was stated. So that's why I was wondering, should it be at all identified in general rules?
I've proofread so much. I read it somewhere, but I'm not sure where.
It's just a question that I would have,
It's in one of our books. I'm not sure which one. I wrote. Deborah could help me out on that, but.
Yeah, if it states anything about ATVs, then yes, we would need to add that as a formal statement in the general rules, because it is in the campground rules.
There are statements in the general rules regarding ATVs.
Okay, then that would be updated. I had not gotten to your corrections because I've been working on closing the books. So we're real close there, but we will add that and I will address them, the add-ins this week, and hopefully for a final review by the end of the week to the board.
Thank you. Does anybody feel that our attorney should be looking over this general rules before we approve it to make sure there aren't any conflicts. Nobody feels that way?
Yeah, it might be helpful to have him look at that. Yeah, just to make sure that we're aligned with everyone, with the general POA regulations.
Paul, your opinion?
How long have we had general rules out as a association?
How long have we had this lawyer?
It doesn't matter. How long we've always had an attorney.
That's funny.
That's true.
We have always been represented. That's why I asked the question, how long have we had general rules?
Well, Deborah should be able to help us out there.
Forever.
I believe it's going to be back in the 80s. At least.
I would assume at this point that council has at least reviewed our general rules. We're not making a whole lot of changes here. That would be my only suggestion.
Okay.
If you guys want to spend the money on having our new attorney review this, that's fine. It's okay with me. I just think to me, it's a little redundant. I would assume that these rules being in effect all this time have been at least reviewed by attorneys.
Okay. That'll work.
Jim, John, do you have an opinion?
I don't think we need to.
I see Jim shaking his head, I presume.
I'm saying it's kind of settled stuff, I think.
Steve?
Okay.
I wouldn't spend the money.
We've had it for a long time. And I know attorneys have looked at it before. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, then, are we looking for a motion?
Well, I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
I've read in here where all snowmobiles have to be registered at the lake.
Correct.
Okay, they have to have stickers on them and everything. Am I?
Correct.
That's right. How come we don't have the
They only go
ATV
on the lake.
golf carts to do that?
They only have to have a sticker if they're on the lake,
Yes.
the physical lake, not the roads around it or anything, but if they're driving on the lake.
The waterway, which would be ice at that point.
Okay.
Our ATV, you're talking about snowmobiles?
Yeah, because ATVs are banned from
Prohibited, right.
the ice.
Okay.
So Deborah, are we looking for a motion to accept or we want to wait to get the final draft? Can we wait to get the final draft or does that have a deadline also?
No, I think we should wait for the final draft. And since it's been discussed, the board can come back to and let Ken know. And then we can go from there because the general rules are out there in the old format and there were no changes made other than aesthetics. There was a lot of numbering and ABCs and those type of formatting. Those were changed. So it was more flow and aesthetics to the booklet. And I know they hadn't been reviewed in a few years. So adding the ATV rule that passed, omitting the fishing, I think it would be good just to wait until a final draft is looked at and approved.
Should we put this on the agenda for next month?
Yes, I would think so.
Okay, so we'll move general rules to old business for next month, correct?
Business A.
Is there any reason why we need to have this approved before a certain time frame?
No, just needs to be updated or looked at yearly in case the staff fails to get in one of the rules such as the license for or the liability insurance for the golf carts and ATVs on common property.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you probably want to put some language in there, Deborah, about registering snowmobiles if they're going on the iced lake. I don't think anybody's going to pay any attention to that, but might as well be in the
That
general
is
rule.
in that booklet. That's what Steve read. That is in that booklet. But we will definitely review that
In what
section.
booklet?
General rules.
Then the general rules.
Oh, it is in there?
Yes.
That they have to,
If they go on, I didn't realize, I thought it was if snowmobiles were anywhere, but it's if they're on the lake, using the lake.
and it does say that they have to have they have to buy a sticker?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
It's been that way for years.
It
My
also
bad.
reads the sleds that snow fish or ice fishing, the sleds are supposed to be permitted as well. So
Okay.
that would be something, again, that's cause for the annual review of the booklets.
Okay, so we added this, I'm sorry, go ahead, Paul.
No, that's all. I don't have anything else.
So we added this item, General Rules 2021, onto next month's meeting, old business. That takes us through our agenda. Anybody want to bring up another subject? If not, I'll ask for an adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. See you guys.
Yeah.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Thanks all.